news you can use.
To another edition of the Scoop News You Can Use. I'm Louise Thompson, the Executive Director of Tampa Bay Community Network, and with me today is Jolene Bivens, who's the Tampa Bay Regional Director of the American Lung Association. Welcome, Jolene. Glad you could be here today. I wonder if you could give us a little history of the Lung Association. You just told me a few minutes ago that it's the oldest organization.
It's the oldest voluntary health organization in the country. We were started back in 1904 to fight tuberculosis. A woman by the name of Emily Bissell had a family member who was afflicted with it, and she raised money through our Christmas Seals campaign, which some people may be familiar with. They were stamps that you put on your letters around Christmas time, and so penny at a time she raised money, and over the years we've evolved to include other lung diseases such as emphysema, COPD, asthma, cancer, lung cancer, yeah.
Which is the big one you're associated with.
Yes,
right.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, did you have any role in the fact that there were TB tests and so forth, and inoculations and immunizations?
You know,
Maybe.
We were very active in establishing partnerships with the public health agencies, the state ones. So we worked hand in hand with them to work on the disease. We have one of the last sanatoriums here in Florida, over on the West Coast, A.G. Holly, which, depending on what happens in the legislature, may or may not still exist.
Explain that. Who's in the sanatorium?
Is
that for TB?
For TB, we are finding with many diseases now about the resistant strands of these different diseases, and
wow.
You have to make sure that you take your medicine on a regular basis. And it's not like the old days where if you had it, right, they shipped you
away. No one could.
Right. It's more people that maybe have very severe cases and aren't conforming to their medication requirements.
Any relationship between that and the fact that a lot of folks no longer want to inoculate their children, or is that not?
No, that's not.
Okay, so you're based out of St. Petersburg,
Mm-hmm.
and you cover what areas?
The Tampa Bay region covers 7 counties along the coast from Levy down to Sarasota. The Gulf Coast area, which is our corporate headquarters here, actually covers 15 counties, so further south down to Collier.
So you have services available in all of these counties?
Absolutely.
Okay, can you tell us what the services are?
Sure. I think the simplest way to explain what we do at the American Lung Association is we are fighting for air, and that encompasses everything. We are fighting to help people breathe easier with asthma education, whether it be children or adults. Asthma is the leading reason for school absenteeism in children. Wow. And so we can prevent that through some of our education and management programs. We have support groups for people with COPD. Our Better Breathers clubs help them manage their disease, as well as get to know other folks that have it too, so that they don't feel so alone. We have tobacco control programs, which range from preventing the youngsters from smoking that goes all the way through helping people who already smoke quit. We fight for the air around us that we breathe. Pollution is very much part of a problem when it comes to lung health, so we are constantly fighting for not just clean air, but healthy air outside. So we
Have you seen increases in some of these? I think I've read that asthma in children has been on the upswing for a number, a decade or more.
We are seeing an increase in asthma diagnosis. Part of it may be that asthma is being better diagnosed, and the other part is, again, it's that pollution connection. We think as the air around us isn't clean or healthy, it really affects people whose lungs may be compromised a bit.
I thought we did a lot with this with regard to our cars and buses and pollution. Did we not do enough?
That's
We
what it
did do
is.
a lot, but we didn't do enough.
Right.
Unleaded gas.
That's
all
right.
those things?
We didn't do enough. Here in the Tampa Bay area, some counties are more fortunate than others. Every year we issue a state of the air report, and it's a report card for the quality of air we breathe in all the counties here in Florida that have air monitoring systems. Pinellas has been fortunate enough to at least be a B, but Hillsborough has had some
bigger
issues.
breeze off the water.
Yeah.
They're moving it away or something?
That may be part of it. Plus, obviously, Tampa has a lot more traffic than we do over in Pinellas.
So how are we rated?
Not good. You had a D.
And does it go down to an F, failure
It does.
entirely?
It does. And some people are upset because there are other cities throughout the country that when you think air pollution rise to the top of your head and they say, oh no, we're not as bad as those areas.
As Manhattan or something
Los
like
Angeles,
that.
exactly. And no, we're not, but any number of days that that the air quality isn't good for people is, doesn't matter if it's 10 or 110. if you have lung issues and the air is not healthy for you to breathe, you can have some really terrible problems.
What are some of you said traffic when you mentioned Tampa having higher traffic than St. Petersburg, but are there some other
Sure.
reasons that we're seeing this?
Power plant emissions, different things like that. The good news is, though, with all this push to be more environmentally friendly, I think we're going to see a lot of, hopefully, change in our air quality as well as people really take a look at their driving less. We've certainly cut back on driving in the past couple of years.
All you have to do is make gas, $4 a gallon, that'll do it.
Exactly.
So are there recommendations that the American Lung Association makes with regard to how we can, besides the fact that you said drive less? I'm sure that in the offing somewhere is something like better standards for gas or lead or motor. Is that coming?
That's coming too.
Okay.
Sure, that's down the road. We actually have just been working with the EPA to adjust what our standards really are for air quality.
Okay. Well, we'll be back in just a minute to talk more with the American Lung Association about what we can do to. Welcome back to The Scoop. I'm Louise Thompson, the Executive Director of Tampa Bay Community Network, which you can find at www.tbcn.org. And with me today is Jolene Bivens, who's talking to us. She's the Tampa Bay Regional Director of the American Lung Association. She's talking to us about the services they provide and the help they're trying to be to us in terms of our air quality. I know that in the last thing you just talked about the fact that there's a rating for each of the counties in terms of its air quality. But there are some things you're doing about that. I saw that you won a court victory. Could you talk about that?
Over the EPA?
Yeah,
yes.
What happened with that?
Well, again, we're trying to make the distinction and make people understand there's a difference between clean air and healthy air. Over the past 20, 30 years, we have made significant progress in cleaning up our air. Unfortunately, it's not as healthy as it could be. And we work with doctors, scientists, and the acceptable level of ozone and particulate matter that the EPA had deemed acceptable was different than what our medical experts have told us really truly is healthy. And so we
And the EPA has the power to fine or not license certain
exactly
things.
And there's a lot of things related to the air quality in a county. I don't know if people remember years ago Atlanta had terrible air quality and they actually started to lose some of their federal funding for their highways. So there's all these interconnections.
Okay. So they've made that hook into your funding for roads.
Sure. So counties are very conscientious of what their air quality is, and as long as they meet EPA standards, that tends to be okay for them. But what we're finding from the health community, particularly our medical experts, is that the current EPA standards, while might be better than what they were, if you have any kind of lung disease problems, particularly our seniors with COPD or our children with asthma, those standards may not be even healthy for them to be out and about.
So what happened? You sued? Did the American Lung Association sue the
We
EPA?
we did,
Okay.
and
We're all for that. We're all for
and
that.
unfortunately, we try the advocacy route and the legislative route, and sometimes you have to go this way. And so we did, and the standards have they have changed a little bit already, but we're really pushing forward to get them to that acceptable level, so that.
Well, in suing them, you got it raised or not raised yet?
Not yet. Right before the lawsuit, it was raised a little bit.
To show they were being in earnest, okay, or something.
Right. And
Okay.
so we said that's all well and good, but that's not the level that the medical community, the medical experts have told us it really needs to be at. So you need to look at this. For people that are healthy, they have no air breathing issues, they may not notice it. But again, if you have asthma, if you have COPD, even some people with heart disease, when the air quality isn't good, they really it starts affecting them, and now they can't go outside, they can't do the things that they like to do, and that's really not how the American Lung Association believes people should live.
And we have, like right now in our state, we're having a concern over it not raining,
Yes.
a drought, and we always see then an issue that this can cause more fires,
Exactly.
brush fires. So this would be one of the things that would be problematic for someone with COPD. or
Absolutely.
asthma.
And I think anybody that went through this a couple summers ago realizes that even if you don't have breathing problems, it can become an issue for you as well. So imagine what it's like for those people who on a regular basis have some problems breathing, to try to go out and do even just simple things, go to the grocery store, or a lot of our schools, because it's Florida and we have this great weather, the hallways are not enclosed, they're not air conditioned, so the kids are walking from room to room or building to building through this smoke-filled, to a certain extent, air. And again, most kids, maybe they don't have any problems, they won't notice it, but it can be a real trigger for our asthmatics.
And this is, again, the highest number of absences for children is attributable to asthma or breathing problems.
To asthma. Asthma is a chronic condition. Without getting too technical, it's inflammation of the airways, excess mucus production, and tightening of the airways. And it can be triggered by a lot of things, including smoke, obviously from the fires, secondhand smoke, common household chemicals. We've seen this whole push to get away from chalkboards in schools because the chalk dust was a trigger and things like that. So yes, and it's scary when you can't breathe, and when it's a small child who can't always tell you exactly what they're feeling or what's wrong. It's even scarier as a parent or an adult to watch.
If you came across someone who was having a breathing problem, what would be the recommendation of the American Lung Association? Just hurry up, get them out of there, or get them to the doctor, or is there anything you can actually do?
The best thing to do, and this is mostly for people with the chronic conditions already, is you should have an asthma action plan. This is particularly important for kids with school, and it will tell you here's what to do. They have peak flow meters, and you usually measure. Go ahead. It's a device that you blow in to see how high you register.
Is that the thing with the little ball
right,
goes up? Okay.
Exactly. And depending on where you fall on that chart, your asthma action plan, which has usually been developed with a doctor, will tell you the steps you need to do. Sometimes it's as simple as making sure that they just sit down for a moment with other children or with other adults. It may
Calm
be that
them down. immediately.
great. It may be that they need to use their rescue inhaler. So it really varies from person to person. The ultimate thing is, though, you see anybody turning blue, nails, lips, 911 immediately.
That would be a breathing issue of the
Absolutely.
greatest proportion,
Absolutely.
one way or the other. Okay, well, all right, I want to get into some other things like some of these support groups that you provide. Well, we'll be back in just a minute to talk more with the American Lung Association about what we can do to improve our air quality. Stay tuned. Thank you. Welcome back to The Scoop. I'm Louise Thompson, Executive Director of Tampa Bay Community Network, and with me is Jolene Bivens from the American Lung Association, talking to us about getting healthy air, not just clean air, but healthy air. And on that note, as someone who's tried for, I don't want to tell you how many decades, to stop smoking, and tried all these different approaches, what is the American Lung Association's approach? How is that going to help? What do they do? What, you know?
Well, we have a variety of approaches, because a smoking habit or smoking addiction is a very individual thing. So not everything works for everybody, and as you just said, it usually takes multiple attempts to quit. So we have a variety of ways that can help you. Our gold standard is our Freedom from Smoking program. It combines behavior modification along with, where appropriate, using the nicotine replacement, the chant, things like that, because research has shown us that when you combine that support with
any of the products,
you have an increased chance in quitting. So one of the...
You mean it doesn't matter whether it's the nicotine patch, the nicotine inhale,
right,
the God, we have so many now.
The lozenges,
lozenges,
the
gum. We have, which I've always thought tasted horrendous, but I see now they're advertising flavorful mint or whatever. And then now we have Chantix. We've had Zyban, which is what was the Wellbutrin, is I think the other generic for it.
Right.
None of these work any better than the other statistically, or it doesn't really matter as long as you combine them with...
It's really up to the person. It really is, because there are some people that they can't use the patch. The patch just doesn't work for them. But I've heard from people that the Chantix is great. I've heard from people that, you know, Zyban worked, and then I can be in a room of 5 people and somebody will tell me, oh no, it didn't do anything for me. So again, it's a very individual thing, and I think that's why the support helps, because if all it was a physiological habit, that nicotine addiction part of it, then it wouldn't matter which ones you use. Yes, that'd be great, and it'd take care of it. But smoking is a very complex behavior. There's the psychological part of it, the habitual part of it. There's the physiological part of it, the actual addiction. Nicotine hits your brain faster than an injected shot of heroin, so you've got brain receptors. Pardon?
Only if you smoke.
If you smoke nicotine?
Well, because I've read anyway that inhaling it will take it to your brain faster than, of course, a patch or a drug or replacement thing. Is it correct?
Yeah, and your brain has these receptors, and they like that when they have that. So you have to address the reasons why people smoke, and again, that varies from person to person. Stress is a very common reason people smoke.
It's odd to me that you can use the cigarettes to decompress, get just I'm going to relax now. I'm too stressed out, and then you can use it in a converse manner, which is I got to soup myself up now to write this big report or go do something. How one drug can have two opposite.
Sure. Well, a lot of times a cigarette calms people down because those receptors are saying, "Give me my stuff, give me my nicotine, give me my nicotine." So when you smoke it, you're like, "Okay, they're happy, you're happy. But the truth of the matter is cigarettes increase your heart rate, increase your blood pressure, so they're not doing physiologically anything to really calm you down.
Oh, you know what we forgot? Hypnosis, which I've tried that too.
That,
In addition to all these other ones.
there's a ton of different ways that people have
Acupuncture?
quit.
People are using
People
now,
are
too?
using acupuncture. There's all kinds of things. We do not promote or endorse one way over the other. We do recommend that people, be careful, because some of these methods that we talked about are FDA approved and some of them are not. I always tell people that be careful. Always consult your doctor or a pharmacist or somebody with a medical background before you try anything.
So people can go to your website and get on, what is it called? Freedom?
It's Freedom from Smoking. Yeah, we have an online version which you can access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Wherever you have access to the internet, you can participate in this program. And if it takes you 7 weeks, it takes you 7 weeks. If it takes you 7 months, it takes you 7 months. You get to proceed at your own pace. There is a chat room with it so that you can talk to other people who are going through the same thing, and there is a...
Who are going to bite your head off too, or something like that?
Yeah.
Or they're all on there.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
They understand when you're...
Getting
Yes,
anxious.
exactly. And there's a facilitator that monitors the discussions and is available for questions, so that you're not just
On the web?
On the website.
Okay,
Mhm.
so you're not like convening a meeting exactly.
Right,
but-
exactly. No, you're just... She checks the message boards and things like that. Or these clinics in certain places are provided as a group program. It is a 7-week program, and you go once a week for an hour and a half. Or you can call. The American Lung Association has a lung helpline where you can get smoking cessation advice and counseling as well.
That's great. Well, I guess we can go to your website and find out a lot more. And there's a 1-800 number. What is that?
Exactly. It's 1-800-LUNG, L-U-N-G, USA. And that will connect you either to the local office if you want to talk to somebody, or it can connect you directly to the helpline.
Well, I sure appreciate your coming down here to talk to us about all of that, and thank you for tuning in. I'm with Tampa Bay Community Network, which is the last public access facility in the state of Florida. Please go to our website if you'd like to learn about how you can do TV production and put your message out on the airway, cable waves. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time.
News you can use.